Hey, welcome Battleground Believers. I'm Brad, and again, we're not in the Two Bar Blue studio. We're in my living room. We're still with my dad, spending time with him. Had a great time during the last episode, and actually, we shot it twice, and we liked it so much.
Yeah, we got 16 years down.
But again, thank you so much for being a part of the audience. Remember, like, share, subscribe. It really helps the channel. We're trying to build a ministry here, not just to entertain people. There is a reason behind why we do what we do, and that's to spread the gospel and to say, hey, just because life's rough and the things you go through, here's somebody that went through some stuff, and you may be going through the same thing. And if they can make it, you can make it.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's and our tagline is telling his story through your story, meaning telling God's story. And we're not necessarily telling the biblical story, but we're telling God's story, how he worked through our lives. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you again for being a part of the audience and tuning in, and please continue to like, share, and make comments. And we have a email address, battlegroundbelievers@gmail.com. Reach out to us if you have questions, comments, concerns, or anything, or just want to say hi. We really appreciate when that kind of stuff comes through. Thank you so much for being a part of the audience. Appreciate your time, being willing to watch our content, and being a part of who we are. But again, back to where we were. When we left off, you were talking about how you got my mother pregnant, and um, you're going to marry her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
we talked about the marriage and the preacher, the breast of the peace with the brown shirt and
yeah,
blue stain.
but now we're going to pick up right there, right? So now you're 17 years old. You have the most beautiful baby that's been created up to that point in history, and you're in high school and you're working. And
Yeah.
let's kind of unpack that, like what that looked like and what that time was like for you in your life.
Okay. So when we get married, Cheryl's mom and dad paid half the rent, and my father and stepmom paid half the rent, which was $50 a piece.
So you had $100
$1,700.
rent.
Yeah,
Man,
1974.
what the heck happened in America?
And then my responsibility, or our responsibility, was the food and the utilities and gas for the car because your mother had a car. She had a 67 Chevy Impala that every time it rained, it wouldn't start. So through the process of us being on our own, I had and also go to school. So I went to school 2 hours in the morning, every morning, and then I worked 8 hours at a steakhouse. And then from the steakhouse, I would go to school at night, 2 hours twice a week at
So when did you
night
sleep?
at the house.
No, but when?
When?
Like did you sleep through the night, or did you?
That's a good question. I slept through the night, and back in 1974, Muncie Central High School was doing it as a brand new high school. I think I was the first class to go in, and it was open concept. So you had the whole open floor, and they had partitions that marked off your classroom. And I forget how many people were in each classroom, but I literally slept in class. I was so exhausted, and the teachers never intervened. They just let me sleep. And then I would leave at 10 o'clock, get in the car, go to the steakhouse, and work till 6 o'clock as a production manager, and then go to school 2 hours at night
And sleep then too?
and sleep when I got home. Yeah.
So did you graduate, or did you finally just leave?
About a year and a half into the marriage, we each made some bad decisions, and the marriage kind of dissolved. And through that, where I was at the steakhouse, they wanted to make me a manager. So they sent me to Fort Wayne to the big store to learn how to become a manager. And that's where we kind of separated physically. And I left high school, and it was the understanding with the restaurant, which is called Lucky Steer, that because I was go to Fort Wayne, and then they were opening up a brand new store in Richmond, Indiana, on 70 and somewhere else right outside Richmond. Well, when I got there, I was supposed to be afforded the opportunity to go back to school and get my high school diploma. Got there, and that never happened. I mean, it was fast paced. I was in charge of a lot of things as assistant manager, and I never got a chance
Did you enjoy that job?
to a certain point. But it was just like, um, I was so young, I didn't know any different. And I remember one time there's this guy that came in who was chiseled from stone, had a real tight haircut, and he had USMC across his T-shirt. And all the girls were fawning on him. I looked at him like, wow, interesting.
Is that where you first got the
Nope,
idea?
nope, nope, sure wasn't. I'll get to that. So that was how the marriage dissolved and how I ended in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, so
Or
you
I'm sorry,
came,
Richmond, Indiana.
so you came to Fort Wayne, trained, and
Yep.
then actually went down to
Yeah,
Richmond,
relocated to
Indiana.
Richmond. Yeah, sure did. And I was there for, I don't know, maybe a year. And some things happened there. And Dad said, come to Mobile, Alabama, and you can get a job there. Because I had child support. And so I went down to Mobile, Alabama, and lived with Dad and Dovey. And I worked at Ingalls Shipyard as a apprentice ship fitter. No education, I was still a high school dropout. And so I was in a shipyard for a while, and Dad worked with other engineers because Dad was in construction, industrial construction, as a supervisor, superintendent. And he had an engineer friend in Monsanto in Pensacola, Florida. So Dad got with the engineers. The whole thing was trying to get me into a trade, like to be a pipe fitter. So working with Jim Daniels at Monsanto, who was an engineer, he got me on as an apprentice pipe fitter, a helper in Pensacola. So I zip up to Pensacola. I'm working 40 hours a week, 10 hours a day, making $500 a week, just those 40 hours. That's a lot of money. And I'm putting it away. I got a really nice apartment, and I got a lot of Dad and Debbie's furniture in this apartment. And I'm working with a pipe fitter named Elbert Watson, who in his mind claimed to be a backslidden Pentecostal holiness preacher. And this is where I come to the Lord. And I
The
come
first
to
time.
first time, other than, the Catholics as a
Yeah,
child.
yeah.
And we're working, and the skies in Pensacola are just angelic, beautiful, you name it.
Blue, yeah, blue.
Blue. So he says, you need to go to church because you're going to join the Marine Corps and you're going to fight in Armageddon. And I'm like, Marine Corps is so far from my mind right now. I mean, really knows no freaking way. They're nuts. So I go to the Pentecostalist church and I get saved. I get baptized. I'm smoking cigarettes, and they were pressed upon me that I got to be like Christ. Christ doesn't smoke cigarettes. Again, I'm 18 years old. I'm in Pensacola. I have no other type of supervision to help me when I get saved. I have a girlfriend. She comes to the door. She wants to fool around, and I reject her. I'm like, I can't believe I did that because that's sin. Never saw her again, and I keep going. And the guys on the job, they're pipe fitters, there's welders.
Yeah.
They're giving me a hard time. Like,
Yeah.
you can't lie, Donick, because you're a Christian now and all this. And I'm on the High Line. And I shared with you that at one time, because through the church there was a lot of activities, and everything we did, we prayed. Like, I remember helping them on a roof. We prayed,
Mm-hmm.
protect us. Everything was prayer. I mean, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I was in one with Christ, and I was going to jump off this pipe. And the reason I didn't, because I thought I cannot be like Christ. I feel like I'm there as much as I can get. This is a child thinking this way.
So you were going to kill yourself because that was the only way you could be
Get with
like
Jesus,
Christ.
yeah, in my mind.
Okay. Well, yeah. I
In
mean,
my mind. But the only thing that saved me was my Catholic bringing with Mom, because we were taught as young that suicide is damnation. Well, we know that's not
unforgivable
true,
sin.
but that's the way we were raised. So that's one thing that stopped it. And then I just finally gave up to the devil and became carnal again. I believed in God, but I didn't. I was more in the world
Right.
than the Holy
Well,
Spirit was in me.
I would say what it sounds like is you had a relationship with Jesus in the beginning, but they put so many like all of a sudden they just piled all this on you, and then you realize I can't measure up,
Mm-hmm.
and so screw it. I'm not going to make it because, like when I was a young man in faith and Christianity, that's how I felt. I thought I can never measure up. Uh, I always have a dirty thought, or I say a cuss word, or I slip over here, and every time I do that, it puts me out of the running. And so there's no way. So when it was come time to just walk away from God, it was easy because it's like, I'm not going to make it anyway. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. And that's the problem, right? We try to make it so that we're good enough to make it to heaven, and it has nothing to do with us.
Right.
It has to do with
Mhm.
what he did on the cross, and then us believing in him. Now, that doesn't mean we go out and continue to sin, but at the same time, when you make a mistake, or you're dealing with a sin in your life or something, that just doesn't negate you.
Yeah.
You're not. I always lived on that. Oh, I'm saved. Oh, I'm unsaved. Oh, I'm saved. I'm unsaved.
Yeah, I lost it. Yeah.
And that's
But see, here's the
where
beauty of
you're
this
at.
whole experience is when I first got saved, I went to a telephone. I called mom, and mom has wrestled her whole life with a personal relationship with Jesus Christ
Up to this point.
up to this point.
Yeah.
So I'm telling mom what's happening, and mom is like sharing, and she goes to church, and the preacher starts asking questions like what transpired from our phone conversation, and mom raises her hands up. You're talking to me. And through me being saved and sharing that experience with mom, led mom to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ.
I didn't know that.
It's good. And when I interviewed mom 3 years ago, I asked her about that experience. And then I asked her if she ever received the baptism of the Holy Spirit. She told me she did.
Yeah. Well,
Amazing.
she told me that she read Romans.
Yeah.
Like when she started wanting to get. She didn't tell me in the context that she had the conversation with you. She just said when she wanted to really solidify her faith, she started reading the book of Romans.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
wow, I didn't.
And this was about a 2.5 month period.
Okay, so now you're down in Pensacola. You're
Mhm.
saved, and then you say, "Screw it, I can't measure up. I can't do this," and you go back to being carnal. So I'm guessing you're continuing to smoke and
Yeah, continue to
smoke, dip, and chew, and run with those who do, kind of thing, right?
responsibly.
Yeah.
Um, and then dad has got a job he's running up in Connecticut. And one of the things in my whole life, which really hurt me with you, because you want to join the Marine Corps, and I was adamant no, and I regret that to this very moment.
I don't. I'm
But
glad I didn't go
I
there.
wanted to be like my father. We like to say we always don't know why we idolized our dad. I guess it's something innate. So dad's up in Connecticut. And this is how much I trusted my father, which I should have known better. But I'm working a job in Pensacola, Florida. I'm in a trade. I got my tools there. I got a beautiful apartment, got a nice car. He says drag up. Well, in construction terms, drag up means take your toolbox and leave. I grabbed my toolbox on my dad's word, drag up. I got my toolbox. I said, I'm dragging up. Got a plane ticket, one-way plane ticket to Connecticut, Hartford, Connecticut. Leave everything in the apartment. Cars parked there. I took a taxi cab to the airport. Everything's set in Pensacola, Florida. I get up there to Connecticut, and Dad says, "I'm going to get you on this union job and get you into the pipeline where you can become on union and have a trade." Dad couldn't do it. So here I am, sitting in Connecticut. My money's running out because I'm paying child support.
Mm-hmm.
Got the thing down in Pensacola, Florida. Jerry is sick.
That's Grandma's husband at this
Yeah,
time.
mom's second husband. Jerry's sick, very sick, and I'm going nowhere. So I fly back to Indiana in September, I think, or October, to be with mom and help her with Jerry, and then I go back to the steakhouse. I'm right back in Richmond, Virginia, flipping hamburgers and steaks at a
Richmond,
steakhouse.
Indiana.
Richmond, Indiana. I was in Virginia for a while, so it's kind of like, and I'm getting old. It was Richmond, Indiana. And I'm like, wow, I am right back where I started. I'm going nowhere fast. So I go to the movies. And this is how I joined the Marine Corps. I go to the movies and I watch Heroes with Henry Winkler. And there's just something about this movie. When I watch this movie, I step out and I say, I'm going to join the Marine Corps. I go to Muncie, Indiana, walk in the recruiter and say, I want to join the Marine Corps. And this is how naive I was. He says, boy, what you running from? I literally looked this way and that way. He's talking to me. I didn't know he's talking to me. I never talked
Oh,
about
he
that.
said that to you? And
Yeah,
you
he
was
said,
like,
well, who you running from? I'm like, he said, in my 20 years in the Marine Corps, I didn't have anybody walk through that door and say I want to be a Marine. Well, I think that's bull. That's what he told me. So then I started going through the whole process of joining the Marine Corps. And they wanted me to go soon. This is in September or October. I'm like, no, I'm going to be home for the holidays. And I had back then you had your choice. You could either go to San Diego or Paris Island. Well, my geographic was off. I thought Paris Island, being on the East Coast, was rainy and cold and wet. They had sand fleas. California had sunglasses and whatever, right? Both places were they weren't very pleasant at the time when you go.
so where'd you go?
I went to San Diego.
Okay.
So they wanted me to go before the holidays because they got a quota.
Yeah.
I wasn't knowledgeable of quota. I didn't know anything about the military other than
Right.
Albert Watson telling me I'm going to join the Marine Corps and fight in Armageddon. I'm like, neither one of those is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Here I am joining the Marine Corps, absent of that thought at
Right.
the time. So we make a concession. I ship out 28 December 1977.
So you'd be home for Christmas.
Yes, so I was home for Christmas, long enough to be home for Christmas. Uncle Don let me use his yellow or his blue Volkswagen. I stayed with Mom, and that's the day my life changed completely.
When you
I
flew off.
flew off to California and to Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, San Diego.
When you so as a recruit, were you a good recruit or were you?
I got fired 5 times. You got 4 squads and a guide, and I did a lot of flying, going back and forth, Indiana and Connecticut and whatnot. And that's when you could sit in the back and smoke cigarettes, have a glass of wine or whatever, and had your platform shoes, your hair parted down the middle, a little mustache with wax on so they could see it. So.
Man, I'm glad it's not the 70s.
It was great. It was great.
So you, but like when you went to, like we called it basic training, you guys called it boot camp. You were recruits.
Yeah, because you had the airport right there, and we would be out there, and I would always just watch the airplanes going. I'd like, there's people sitting there having a cocktail, they're smoking a cigarette, they got different kind of clothes on, they're listening to music, and I was on hell on earth. Everything was mean green, and you know, eyes to the front, all
Yeah.
that, which was awesome. But it was adapting. But I adapted to because I was older. I was 20 years old now. Most of these people were 18, 19.
Yeah.
And real quick story, they interview you once you go through the receiving process, and then you go into the shack, and the drill instructor. Because when I joined the Marine Corps, you got a high school diploma? No. You smoke marijuana? Yes. You got any kids? Yes. No. You don't have any kids. Can't do much. You don't smoke marijuana, but we can get you in with a waiver for no high school diploma. So my whole military career was a lie, based on what this guy made me do.
In the very beginning.
In the very beginning, the recruiter. So I'm going through boot camp, and how many of you got kids? How many of you did this? I kept my hands down, boom, 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 right? And then when I get home, I go to see my recruiter like he didn't know me, just like you hear everybody talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a real letdown. I go back and I could have ruined some career by telling the truth. I could have ruined their careers, but I kept it to myself because I accepted that.
Yeah. You owned it.
I owned it. Yeah.
So you come out of basic training, right?
Went home on leave for 10 days and then back out to California.
Did you come see me or?
Yeah. Every time I came home, I saw you.
Okay. So then you leave again, and now you go out to, where'd you go?
I went to San Diego, or I went to Camp Pendleton, and I was there for 2 months, and then from there I was sent to Japan, Okinawa, Japan, 3rd Marine Division.
Okay, so you went to Japan early on, because when I was a teenager, you were in Japan.
Yeah, I was in Japan from 78 to 79, and then 86 to 93.
Okay, so you go to Japan, and now you're probably early private. Is there any faith?
No, I was because I got meritorious PFC out of school. No faith, fear God, knowledgeable of God, but not living a Christian life.
No personal relationship.
Yeah,
right?
no.
There's a difference between I know God exists, I believe there's a God, and having a personal relationship.
But the whole time, God's in my life, big time. And when you look back at your life, you'll see where God's there.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020, so So you're you took to the Marine Corps like right, like you sailed, like that was what you were
Oh,
geared to
I
do.
needed stern discipline. I needed leadership. I needed structure. I needed a purpose. And I was around so many people that were, um, it was to them, it was a way to do something. To me, it was a way of life because I'd been supporting myself through help through other people since I was 16. So where I saw the big picture, they still saw it through the high school eyes. Man, this is bullshit. I'm not doing this. Well, I'm
Hmm.
like, you need to do this.
Yeah,
You know what it's like out there? I knew it. They didn't.
yeah,
So I had a whole different approach. And I always wanted to excel. Again, didn't want to let anybody down. My biggest thing through high school and everything I did was I always felt like people were counting on me. I didn't want to let them down.
wow,
And
that's a lot
sometimes
of
we get all
pressure.
wrapped out when worrying about what people think about you. And if you can get that off of your backpack, you're really sail. But keeping Christ center.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure you put on yourself. Even though probably there's people out there who could care less whether Rick Dunnick survived or not. You know what I mean?
I had a lot of good leadership early on.
Good.
And then the
Yeah.
bad leadership came. And I remember when you were wrestling in the Army, I was like, Brad, that bad leadership's a blessing because it helps you develop your leadership skills because you know what's good and what's bad. If
Mhm.
you experience good leadership all the time, that's not really helpful. How are you going to grow?
Yeah. How do you
I
know
mean, you
what?
didn't know what not to do.
Yeah. How do you know
Yeah,
what bad
yeah. I
what
mean,
bad looks like?
yeah. And then
Yeah.
how to deal with bad leadership.
Well, I think that's a life lesson on everything, right? If everything's peaches and rainbows, you
Hmm.
never experience the bad. You never
Hmm.
get refined in the
Hmm.
fire, right? That's how. I mean, that's. I think we talked about another episode. You know, that a sword is made, right? Swords are beautiful and they're
Hmm.
powerful, but they're a chunk of metal, and then they're put in the heat, and then they're brought out, and they're just beat
Hmm.
and banged out. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And
Hmm.
that's I think that life is that way, right? So
Yeah.
you're a young man, and you're putting the fire, and you're beat on. You're putting the fire. And then when you get in the Marine Corps, bam! All of a sudden now there's this beautiful sword because of all that heat and
Yeah.
pressure
I
and
saw the
everything.
value in it.
Yeah, and you could where
Yeah.
other people looked at it and said, this is just stupid because they had no concept of
Hmm.
life. So
Yeah.
again, we talked earlier, and you were talking about how much this was a blessing and stuff, and I kept saying, yeah, at the time it probably was not, but having the ability to look back, 40 or 50 years or whatever, and look back on all those, you can now see the fingerprints of God and the blessing, and like, oh, this happened, and at the time it was the worst thing that could ever happen to me, but actually it was the best thing that could have happened to me
Yeah.
because it formed me into the man that I am.
Yeah.
So you're in the Marine Corps. You're living life. I know you got remarried.
I left Okinawa in '79, got back to Camp Lejeune in August of '79, and then met someone the following year in 1980.
Is that Kim?
Yeah, nightmare.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
Yeah,
0 stars. I do not
yeah,
recommend.
yeah.
Uh,
That's a nightmare.
how long? How long were you married to Kim?
We got married in 1982 and divorced in 89, I think.
Oh
It was
wow.
89, yeah.
I was thinking it was. I was thinking it was longer than that, but oh wow. So everything that you've gone through helped you be a better Marine, correct?
Better person.
Better person.
Hmm.
Was it? Uh, in the military, did you have moments of faith? Did you go to church, or was it always just there's acknowledgement, like I know God exists, or did was faith not really even on your radar? You're like, hey, I'm just trying to survive.
I met back up with Elbert Watson. Elbert Watson was from Tar Heel, Alabama, North Carolina. And when I got to Camp Lejeune, I remembered that he was there, and I don't know how I was able to find him, but I found him. And when I found him, he was not in a good way. He was drinking, he was going out dancing, he was doing all these things. So I got back with Albert, and he lived a couple hour drive from Camp Lejeune. And on the weekends, I would go up there,
So this guy is the guy that you
led
were
me to
working with
Christ.
him that
Yeah,
said he was a backslidden
Pentecostal
Pentecostal
holiness.
preacher,
Yeah. Hmm.
holiness preacher,
Hmm.
led you to the Lord.
Hmm.
So you end up becoming a Christian, then realize, hey, I can't do this. You go through the Marine Corps, you come in the Marine Corps, you're being successful in your career, and so you go back to find this guy that said, hey, you'll be in the Marine Corps, and then you find him, and
He's back. He's
there's
he's
no,
lost again.
yeah, he's just
Yeah,
out.
smoking, drinking. Um, yeah, it was just so sad.
Were
And
you devastated?
no, because I was in the carnal mindset. I was in the carnal mindset then.
So that
It's
how
kind of
that
like
enter? Yeah,
timing.
go ahead. So
Like
how?
like timing, because I don't know how if he went. I don't know what because my life was so different. I look back on my life and like, man, if I would have been walking in faith, what more could I have done
Yeah, could you?
better?
Yeah,
Because I always took care. Because the Marines teach you to take care of your Marines, and I mean that was always paramount. Take care of the Marines. Even when the day when I go somewhere and they want me to go eat, like I eat last. So I'm sorry, it's a bad habit in the Marine Corps. I eat last.
yeah, because you want everybody else.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, my thought was maybe there was like this redemptive story where he like realized, hey, I need to get back with the Lord, and you did, but it doesn't sound like that's what
yeah,
went down. It sounded like more like he said,
we were both
let's go dancing
cattails.
and drinking, and you're like,
Yeah,
heck yeah,
cattails. Yeah,
yeah, I'm
coon
a
hunting at night, snipe hunting. It was weird. Go out in the woods and hit raccoons. It was backwoods.
okay. So we're actually getting ready to wind down,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna try to shoot a little bit more. The next one we're gonna go from kind of um, the end of your marriage, and we'll talk about what took place because it was in Okinawa,
Yeah.
and then there was a major blessing that came out of that, right? My sister
Hmm.
Danielle,
Yeah.
and we'll kind of go through that and talk about that, and then hear from moving through that, and then now being divorced, and then moving on to a saint of a woman.
Yeah. Y'all hang on because a lot more stuff's coming.
My
It's really good because my walk with Christ is coming, and I
yeah,
think it's good.
yeah.
I still got a long way to go.
So again, thank you so much for being part of the audience. Thank you so much for watching our channel and supporting us, and liking and sharing and subscribing and all the things that you guys do out there. We really, really appreciate it. We don't take our audience for granted. We
No.
want to be a blessing in your lives. And again, thank you so much. Thank you to my stepmother who is sitting behind the keys tonight, making me look oh so good on camera, and producing this for us this evening. Thank you so much. And my wife for allowing us to hoard the living room this evening. So, again, all that call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Battleground believers, out.